Mr. Sergeant at Arms, would you please call our August 8th, 2023 meeting to order? Good afternoon. I would like to recognize our chaplain of the day, Pastor Reverend Dr. Robert Howard Washington, Sr. of Harris Memorial CME Church. And, just here a second ago. Miscommunication. Well, he will lead us in prayer once he is in the auditorium. Oh, here we are. And he has been invited by Councilwoman Swearengin Washington. Dr. Washington, if you would lead us in prayer, please.
Yes, sir. Let us pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for your blessings upon the city of Memphis, and for your wisdom and your guidance of this great city council. And then, Lord, we ask for the safety of our community and for the success of all of our children, regardless of race, class, and gender, this school year. It's in the name that's above every name that we pray. Amen and amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilwoman Swearengin Washington.
The city of Memphis, by the City of Council, we want to extend greetings and be it hereby known that Pastor Reverend Dr. Robert Howard Washington, Sr., in recognition of a life of exemplary qualities, outstanding service to the city, meritorious involvement in humanitarian affairs, and demonstrated concern for governmental process, has been appointed Chaplain of the Day by the Memphis City Council and is hereby entitled to all of the honors, rights, privileges, and prerogatives appertaining the office, and to the display of this certificate given under seal this 8th day of August 2023, Martavius Jones, Chairman, presented by Councilwoman Jana Swearengin Washington.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Councilmember Canale. Here. Carlisle. Here. Colvette. Easter Thomas. Present. Ford. Johnson. Logan. Morgan. Here. Robinson. Present. Vice Chairman Smiley. Swearengin Washington. Present. Warren. Present. Chairman Jones.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. I believe that Dr. Warren has read our minutes from our previous meeting.
Read the minutes and find them to be in order and move their adoption.
Thank you. Our minutes have been approved by Councilman Warren, seconded by Councilman Carlisle. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, would you please call the roll, Madam?
Canale, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Morgan, yes. Robinson, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes. Thank you. We'll add you to that.
Okay, thank you. Our minutes have been approved from the previous meeting. Welcome to the August 8th, 2023 regular meeting of the Memphis City Council. Meetings of the council shall be conducted in an orderly manner to ensure that the public has the full opportunity to be heard and the deliberative process of the council is maintained at all times. The Sergeant at Arms has meeting agendas available up front, as well as comment cards for members of the public wishing to be heard on a specific item. All those wishing to speak on an item must turn in their comment card to the Sergeant at Arms before the item is called. If you're not here to speak on a specific item, you can note your request to give general comments at the end of the meeting. As chair, I will only recognize citizens that properly registered to speak by submitting a complete comment request card to the Sergeant at Arms. Members of the audience and persons addressing the council will not be permitted to engage in gossip, make defamatory, personal, or slanderous or profane comments, or use abusive or vulgar language. The chairperson of the council may maintain order by giving any persons who are in violation of the stated rules of decorum a warning to cease any violative conduct in order to leave the council's chambers, or giving an order for security personnel to remove any disruptive person in the council chambers who refuses to leave voluntarily. Madam Comptroller, items number 4, 29, and 30 will all be held for 2 weeks. I know there may be members of the audience who are here to speak on item number 4, and because you have come down to City Hall to make your comments, we will hear from those comments if you're here to speak on item number 4. But before I call our first item, okay, and so colleagues, items number 2 and 3 on our agenda will be held as well.
Mr. Chairman, for clarity, that's 2, 3, 4, 29, and 30.
Well, 2 and 3 indefinitely, 4, 29, and 30 for 2 weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'd like to take this time to recognize a couple of elected officials that are here. I see that we have County Commissioner Erica Sugarman present and Madam Clerk Swearingen. I just wanted to make sure that we recognize you and welcome to our meeting today. Colleagues, I move to suspend the rules to approve an honorary street name change for FedEx Corporation, and this is sponsored by Councilwoman Robinson and Morgan, and so and Easter Thomas. Well, actually by the Memphis City Council. So we will, if there's any objection to suspending the rules for us to take up this item. Without objection. Okay, without objection, the rules have been suspended for us to take up this item. They're about to now. They are about to now. They're about to read into the record. Yes. Yes. Councilwoman Robinson, you're recognized.
Thank you, council members and the audience. Whereas on occasion, the Memphis City Council has seen fit to name certain public roads to honor organizations and institutions who have enormously contributed to the city of Memphis, and Federal Express Corporation is more than worthy of recognition. And
whereas FedEx began operations in Memphis, Tennessee, and have grown from delivering 186 packages their first night in operation to now delivering nearly 16 million packages every day globally, and has become the industry standard and leader in the fields of delivery and logistics. And
whereas with roughly 33,000 employees across all operating companies, FedEx is the city's largest private employer, which accounts for nearly 10% of the Shelby County employment, and their seismic economic impact is not only felt here at home, but globally as well. And
whereas part of their dedication to economic development in the city of Memphis, FedEx has committed to bringing their workforce back to the downtown area as part of an effort to revitalize the local economy by increasing foot traffic and bringing new people to the growing downtown.
now, therefore, be it resolved, the Memphis City Council honors FedEx Corporation for its far-ranging and awesome contributions to the city. And as a testament to this, Lieutenant George W. Lee Avenue and B.B. King Boulevard to be declared and designated FedEx One Plaza.
Be it further resolved, the city engineer is requested to affix suitable signs designating the public road in honor of FedEx Corporation, given by my hand and under the Great Seal of the City of Memphis this 8th day of August 2023. Duplay, on behalf of the Memphis City Council, this is just a small token that we like to say in terms of thanks for what FedEx has done for our community. I don't know where we'd be without you, and it's not just in the dollars and the numbers and the employees, but the lives that y'all have touched and improved, not only here, but around the world.
I so move.
Madam Comptroller, will you please show that item number 38 has been approved by acclamation?
I hope you're happy you made me lie for you. What? I had to say I'd read the minutes.
Madam Comptroller, will you please call item number 1?
Item number 1 is a resolution honoring Tracy Bethea for her leadership and contributions to the gospel radio industry. This resolution is sponsored by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington.
Councilwoman Swearingen Washington.
Moved by Swearingen Washington.
It is such an honor to be able to give tribute to such an icon in our city. Memphis City Council, whereas on this occasion, has seen fit to honor citizens who have blessed and enriched the civic and spiritual life of this community. And Tracy Bethea is such a citizen whose communications in the city of Memphis are certainly worthy of recognition. And whereas Tracy Bethea's arrival on the scene became in 1987 in the newsroom at the legendary first all-black formatted radio station in the nation, AM 1070 WDIA. Throughout her career progression, Tracy Bethea soon became the female voice of gospel radio on AM 1070 WDIA. And for 10 years was dubbed as the Young One by her loving audience. And whereas in 2002, Tracy Bethea was an integral part in Clear Channel's launch of 95.7 Hallelujah FM, a 24-hour gospel station in the Memphis metropolitan area, where she currently serves as program music director and afternoon air personality. Her title has extended as the music supervisor of gospel for the iHeartMedia custom brand, which carries her syndicated mid-show in New Orleans, Louisiana, Mobile, Montgomery in Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, Albany and Savannah, Georgia, St. Louis, Missouri, Jackson, and Mississippi. Whereas in January 2023, Tracy Bethea made history as she returned to her roots of radio as the first Black female program director of the legendary AM 1070 WDIA, a veteran of more than 30 plus years. She has received numerous awards and honors and is heavily involved in giving back to her community. Tracy Bethea is a two-time Stellar Award winning Audit Announcer of the Year, inducted by the Stellar Awards in 2002 and 2016, and a four-time Stellar Award winning Radio Station of the Year. In 2015, she was inducted into the Emissaries of Memphis Music presented by the City of Memphis. And whereas Tracy Bethay's warm and engaging approach as a radio personality and music programmer has made her a sought-after motivational speaker, expressing her love and admiration for individuals with a career that balances programming, broadcasting, producing, public relations, consulting, event planning, and community efforts and endorsements. Tracy Bethay is an influencer of a new age and lives by the proverb, "To thine own self be true." She is an active member of the New Olivet Worship Center and currently resides with her loving husband, Steve. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Memphis City Council honors Tracy Bethay for her dedicated service and contribution to the city of Memphis and exceptional leadership to positively impact by her work, and look forward to all of the great work to come, given by my hand under the great seal of the city of Memphis this 8th day of August, 2023, Jana Swearingen, Washington, Memphis City Council. We are so proud of you. We are honored to have you in our city. Please come and say a few words. God bless you.
A charge to keep I have, and a God to glorify. I humbly stand here with gratitude, honor, and thanksgiving. It's very important that this thing we call a microphone, which all of you in the City Council understand, we have to take it very seriously how we use this microphone. I count it an honor for me as a hometown girl of Memphis, Tennessee, to have had the microphone for the past 30 plus years to uplift, inspire, inform, educate our community and our world. So thank you so much for this honor. I appreciate you. I love you. I see so many shoulders that I stand on. Cheyenne knew me when I was a little bitty girl. As a matter of fact, my mom used to do your hair in the kitchen back in the day, Councilman Robinson. I thank all of you so much for this opportunity, but I know I couldn't do it alone. For my amazing family that stands behind me, my loving and supportive husband, my 83-year-old good-looking mother who is well, my family members, my son. I am just excited to be here, but we must carry on and use this in a powerful way. God bless you and thank you.
So, Ms. Bethay, going back to 87, that was second grade or third grade for you? Which one? Or was it kindergarten? Was it kindergarten when you started? Was it kindergarten when you started? You said 87. Was that second grade or third grade for you when you started at radio?
No.
You sure? Madam Comptroller, will you please call... yes. And so, Madam Comptroller, will you please show that that item has been approved by acclamation? Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 5?
number 5 is a resolution pursuant to Chapter 9.6 of the Memphis and Shelby County Unified Development Code, approving a plan development amendment at 299 Germantown Bend Cove. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Planning and Development. The case number is PD 23-11.
Councilwoman Johnson. Okay.
Sorry about that. We're on item number, make sure. Okay, the committee met, and that item received favorable recommendation. I so move.
Okay.
But, wait a minute, we're on 4?
No, 5.
What are we gonna do with 4?
I'm gonna come back to 4. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
How about
And
this?
will you move electronically, please?
I got you. Thank you.
Item number 5 has been moved by Councilwoman Johnson, seconded by Councilman Warren. This was approved in committee. Does anyone down here want to see a presentation, although we have one upstairs? Seeing none, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Morgan, yes. Robinson, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Although item number 4 has been held, I didn't know if there was anybody in the audience that wanted to speak on item number 4. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Comment card is from Commissioner Erica Sugarman. Commissioner Sugarman.
Thank you so much. And I do understand it's been held. However, I told my constituents I would come out, and so I would speak today, so I'm doing so. And we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Name and address for the record, please. Okay.
Erica Sugarman, Shelby County Commissioner. Do I need to say my address as well?
Yes.
Okay, 3089 Cotton Plant Road, Memphis, Tennessee, 38119. Thank you. I'm here today on several pressing matters that concern our community in District 12. The Commission is proud, first of all, to stand with the City Council in supporting the requirement for gun permits and background checks as outlined in the Commission resolution. Additionally, I want to state that kudos again to the City Council for the Playback Memphis program, which has shown promise. However, there remain significant challenges that demand our immediate attention. With nearly 3,000 identified Memphis Shelby County school students facing homelessness, a number that has doubled since the previous year, and the distressing statistic of 60,000 families evicted within the last 2 years, it is clear we have much work ahead. Furthermore, it is disheartening to see Memphis labeled as the most dangerous city to live in our country. I'm here to implore the Super District 9123 and Single District 2, which include the City Council District that's in District 12, to vote against increasing the number of apartment units from 279 to 579, to establish an MPD substation within District 12. We do not have an MPD substation. To enhance public safety, to install flock cameras and speed bumps in our community to address potential criminal activity. And last, when I talked to Sheriff Bonner today, he stated with the increase of apartment units, it will intensify the crime in this community. And so again, I implore you and applaud you as well for the work you've done, and we still have much more to do together. So please, do not expand the number of units from 279 to 579. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 6?
Item number 6 is a resolution pursuant to Chapter 9.6 of the Memphis and Shelby County Unified Development Code, approving a special use permit for a planned residential development at 2882 Southern Avenue and the parcel to its west. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Planning and Development. The case number is PD 23-12.
Councilwoman Johnson.
Chair, the committee met, and this item did receive a favorable recommendation, and I so move.
Okay, this item has been moved by Councilman Morgan, seconded by Councilwoman Johnson. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the voting screens?
Canale, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Morgan, yes. Robinson, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 7?
Item number 7 is a resolution pursuant to Chapter 9.6 of the Memphis and Shelby County Unified Development Code, approving a planned development at the subject property located at 3337 Overton Crossing Street. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Planning and Development. It was held from July 11th. The case number is PD 23-09.
Thank you. Councilwoman Johnson.
This item was discussed in the Planning and Zoning Committee. It did not receive a favorable recommendation, and I so move.
Okay. So would there be a presentation on this item?
If it's so desired. I
Okay.
don't know if we need it.
Is there no one who's speaking on this item? Okay, Mr. Canal. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and council members. I'm trying to pull it up here. And
Okay, take your time.
Brett Ragsdale with the Division of Planning and Development. This case was presented previously by Mr. Seth Thomas, one of our planners, and he has since moved to Chicago. So I will try to fill his shoes and present the case. And I know the applicant has a presentation as well. So, Jonathan, I'm trying to get this here. All right, thank you. So this is PD 2309 at 3337 Overton Crossing, and it has been heard by the council previously. And it is a request for a new plan development and outline plan conditions to allow the expansion of an existing pawn shop. The pawn shop right now is a legal non-conforming, which does not allow any expansion of that property. It's about 0.5 acres, and it's in the commercial mixed-use 1 district. So you can see here, outlined in yellow, the property, and showing the zoning districts around. So it's mainly surrounded by CMU1, CMU2, and other PDs in the area. The land use is mainly commercial with a little bit of institutional to the south, and industrial to the south and institutional to the southeast. And there's some single family to the west of the property. This is an existing site plan showing the existing building and parking lot, and a photo of the parking lot and the existing structure with the sign to the right. Another photo looking to the southwest. This is a rendering that the applicant provided showing the expansion of the property, the proposed expansion that would be to the north, as you can see here on the right side of the photo. and a site plan showing where that expansion would occur. And it's hard to see here, but there is a landscape plan that is in the lower right corner that's proposed as well. And just some aerial photos. Memphis 3.0, we did an analysis of that and found that this is not consistent with the future land use of the area. And in conclusion, the applicant is requesting the expansion of this existing non-conforming use. They plan to convert it to a prototype building. In the end, we found that the proposal was not consistent with 3.0 and that it would be unduly injurious and would damage the use value and enjoyment of surrounding properties. And with that, we recommend a rejection to the Land Use Control Board. However, the Land Use Control Board did approve it with a 4-2 vote, with one member abstaining. And we are bringing this to you with outline plan conditions that were provided by the applicant that we can go into more detail about. And again, the applicant has a presentation, so I'm available to answer any questions if you have them for me, or I can pull up their presentation.
Okay. Okay, Councilman Carlisle.
I had one question, and it actually is specific to this, but I think it'll help me down the road on other cases. When DPD is looking at 3.0, are you taking in only the consideration of the site proposed and not the occurrence of the transaction, so to speak? So this is unique, right? That I understand exactly what you're saying about if I had no other locations like this in the area and somebody were coming in and it was non-conforming, legal non-conforming, and they said, hey, I want to build a larger pawn shop or a larger auto dealer, you look at that site alone. Did you take into consideration understanding that another site was within 1,000 feet or so, was getting shut down and they were moving those operations and consolidating operations? Is that taken into consideration, or is it only through the lens of 3.0?
Well, so our office, we do look at various things. I think as far as 3.0, that wasn't a consideration. 3.0, when comp planning does their analysis, they do look at adjacent land uses and various things. But for our office, we did consider that the other pawn shop that's nearby was going to be closed as, proposed by the applicant. However, we still believe that there's a better use for this property, and there are other properties that are better suited for this use. So that was why our office made that recommendation.
That's okay. Just as one follow-up to that then. So your office believes it's better to leave it as in its as-is condition operating than have it cleaned up and expanded?
Well, I mean, we believe that it can be cleaned up and renovated without expansion, because the expansion it continues that nonconformity for even longer. So they can actually, as a nonconforming use, they can do maintenance, they can do repair, they can clean up the site, if it is unsightly right now. So in our opinion, that can happen, that can continue in use, but the expansion really it lengthens that amount of time that a non-conforming use that we think should not be in this location will be in operation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Carlisle. Councilwoman Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I normally don't agree with these kind of businesses in a community. However, it's already there. It has been grandfather clause into the area, and all they're asking us to do is allow them to update the property, which makes the community look better, and add some storage area rather than putting a boxcar for storage. I believe that that's a better way of representing our community, if it is already there, than forcing them to do something that will bring further demise to our community as it looks. They got to have somewhere to store things, and they can be creative on that. I prefer that it match the building, and it looks like the kind of community that we're trying to build. My question is, because you know that this is grandfather clause in, Why couldn't they update their facility and add storage space? That's what I'm concerned about, how you made that decision. I heard what you shared with Councilman Carlisle, but it didn't make sense to me that there's a business already there. They're trying to fix the perimeters of their business so it is a better visual in the community, and they want to add storage space. They're not asking for us to add any space for them to do more business. They just need storage space, and then it's going to be done in a manner that's conducive for a nice campus. So talk to me about that. Did you all even have that discussion?
Yes, and thank you for the question, Commissioner, Councilwoman Robinson. We did. We talked about that a lot. And again, I think that when we look at nonconformities in the UDC, there's a specific section that allows them to do regular repair and maintenance, and they can do things to improve their business. But when you increase the amount of nonconformity, which is what an expansion would be, or if you do any major structural changes, that just lengthens the amount of time that nonconformity is in place. And so the reason for nonconformities is, and the reason we do allow them to stay in operation as legal nonconforming, is because we don't want to shut businesses down immediately. We want them to be able to operate as long as they're within the parameters that are in the UDC. But when we do allow, expansions or, major structural changes, that, takes them from being there for maybe another 20 years to another 50 years. And when we look at the future of what we're wanting to see there, then that's when we really, make that tough decision that, we believe that this expansion will allow them to operate much further into the future. So,
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Smiley.
Have affinity or care for pawn shops, but it seems like the goal is to force them out.
The goal is to force them out?
It seems like the goal to force them out.
Well, I mean, this is a use that's not allowed in this district, and so we do think that this district is really meant for, a higher and better use. So, again, they can continue operating as a legal nonconforming. They can update their building. They can refresh it. They can do a lot of different things without any consequences.
Who owns the property?
I'll let the applicant answer that, but yeah.
Man, I'm asking the question because I already know the answer. It seems like they own the property. It seems like, no disrespect, the building looks terrible. And considering they own the property, the immediate need for changes to be made, I think this council in 2021 passed a resolution declaring that certain areas of the city are in immediate need for blight or remediation and beautification efforts. It seems like when the council said its priority to encourage beautification and blight reduction, this fits in with what the council requested back then. I think, and I do understand that there's an issue with the pawn shop itself, but there's reasons we allow certain entities to be grandfathered in. This entity was grandfathered in, and now this entity is saying, hey, we understand that this is an eyesore in the community. Let us update this particular business structure, but also we have an issue with storage. I mean, it's their property. It seems like if we don't allow them storage space, what they're gonna do, just sit it outside? I'm just having a hard time, and I need someone to make a good argument why I shouldn't vote to allow someone who owns this particular piece of property to exercise their right as an owner of a business or as an owner of a particular piece of property to update it or scale up on land or on a particular property that he or she or it owns. I need a good argument. Haven't heard one yet. Well, I like good arguments. Chanel
Sure.
made one earlier today.
Yeah, well, and I do, I truly believe that increasing the degree of nonconformity of a business, and again, as I stated, it just lengthens that amount of time that a property that's non-conforming. So if it's non-conforming, there is already an issue with the zoning and with the UDC that has been recognized, and we're trying to
It is
correct
actually not an
those.
issue. It's not an issue. It's not an issue because the law allowed them to grandfather in. There's a non-issue. The grandfather, the exception to the rule is the grandfather clause. So how can there be an issue when their law clearly allows for them to be grandfathered in? It's a non-issue.
Correct, unless they increase the degree of nonconformity, which is what they're proposing to do.
So are they truly increasing the footprint, or is it they're already existing on the property and all they're doing is utilizing the property they already own?
They're not increasing the property, but they are increasing the building, the footprint of the building. Yes.
I haven't heard a good argument yet.
We have Councilwoman Easter Thomas in the queue, followed by Councilman Morgan, but if you don't mind, I'd like to interject. Mr. Smiley, there's nothing preventing them from having improved their facility before now. True. They just couldn't have expanded it. But if there was a desire or a will to make it a Class A facility, they could have done it. Now, it hasn't been a priority until they closed down. This, I think, based upon the previous conversation, they've owned this building for, 20 plus years? So there's nothing stopping them from making it as beautiful as some of these images already are. But they chose not to do so. Only because they want to expand. Oh, now we're going to make it nice and pretty. So to me, the goodwill would be now to improve it and say, Memphis City Council, here's what we did without asking to expand our footprint. They haven't done so. That's the argument. They haven't had a priority to make it to be a beautiful facility where it sits right now. They do not have to come to the Memphis City Council to do so. So if they do that today, I won't be here in 5 years. I won't be on the council in 5 years. Hope to be here. Won't be on the council in 5 years, or even 4 years. Come back to this council, and whoever occupies those seats that are term limited, then come to this council and say, here's what we've done. We did this. May we expand? So that would be my argument. Ms. Rector, how long are they on this property? How long have they been at this site?
I know they've been at the site for quite some time. I don't know how long this applicant has owned it, but they could answer that. I don't have that information.
Okay, so, but Mr. Smiley, that's my point. They could have very well improved it on the same footprint that they have right now. That did not happen. And so that's my argument against allowing this expansion. Councilwoman Easter Thomas.
Basically, they're tripling. Yeah.
What'd you say, Vice Chair?
I'm going to say it slightly more articulate than I just stated it. But mine's based on Councilman Jones's argument that they've been neglectful, and as my grandmother would say, they're trifling. I want to hear a reason. I need to hear something from the property owner why they haven't made any improvements prior. It seems like it's going to be a close vote.
Thank you, Chair, for interjecting. You took the thoughts right out of my head, actually. So 92, my parents moved us to by the now Fraser High School that is now being renovated, the old Peachtree Apartments. 95, we moved down to Overton Crossing Street in the Georgian Hills, Fraser neighborhood. So I've been driving up and down this street longer than the folks representing the pawn shop have. Now, Trip goes to daycare at our church off of Overton Crossing, right behind the shopping center. And so still being able to see this often. As you said, and then as Vice Chair Smiley said, anybody always, if you want to make something nice with what you got, you start with what you got. So if there was a want for improvement on this or the one in the shopping center, it would have been so. But I am, colleagues, speaking on behalf of the residents of Fraser, that have not only told me, but through Reverend Anderson came and told you all that that's not in their wishes. And so if you're voting against their wishes, so be it, that's your vote. But my vote will be a no, just to represent my constituents in Fraser that have asked me to vote no on this item.
Councilwoman Johnson.
I think.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're next in the queue. Yeah, I just took her. Yes, Councilwoman Johnson.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry, transpose it here. I'm sorry. Councilwoman Johnson, then Morgan.
Thank you, Chair. I'm curious how many notices were actually sent out in regards to this public hearing, because I know we had people in opposition, and I don't see any of them here. So I'm wondering, were they contacted, or what type of notices? So that's my concern, be it here or there. You don't have to address it, but I am concerned. We did have Reverend Anderson to come in a couple of weeks ago to say no, he was totally against it. He was working hard on building an educational facility across the street, and he just thought this would be a very adverse operation for what he was trying to do. I think we need to support the community and not support this addition to this pawn shop. And let's, listen to the people, because I think they know better what they want in their own individual neighborhoods. I mean, that's the way I feel. And also, I think we need to define what grandfather means. When something is grandfathered in, that means it's grandfathered in as it is. And any addition, even interior renovations could possibly be required that you come in and get a special permit. But grandfather means as is. Thank you, Chair.
Councilman Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a close vote for me. I really have gone back and forth and thinking about it the last few weeks. And I see both sides of it. And but I also don't think this is an item of large economic impact or value. Sometimes we do have cases here that are $20 million, $100 million, $500 million, and you have opposition from the local council rep against that project, and then the rest of us on the council have to balance, supporting that representative and their district for, a neighborhood they represent, or the greater economic value to the city of Memphis. And we don't really have to do that here. And it is close, and I understand, I'm hearing the different arguments from my colleagues, and because this, for me, where I come down on this, and I always try to vote my conscience, and part of that in this case is I'm going to support Councilwoman Easter Thomas and her vote against this and representing District 7, because that's what she was sent here to do, is to speak on their behalf. And maybe we're not hearing from them today, but this business has every right to be there and operate and be grandfathered in, but not necessarily to expand. And I think if we were starting from scratch today and this application was in front of us and it was an empty lot, that we wouldn't be approving it either. And so today I'm gonna vote with Councilwoman Easter Thomas. I think that's a bit of a tradition that we have faded away from here in recent years about the single district rep and supporting and honoring their voice in a way that we used to do to a more significant degree. And I think this is a kind of a perfect case and example where it is both the fair and right thing to do. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Morgan. Councilman Canale.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to hear from the applicant. Several questions have been posed of them of why they haven't done this or that. So I'd like to hear from them that if this fails, will any renovations be made to the property? Also, I would say in response to you, Mr. Chairman, I think that they're doing this now because they want to add on to the facility to make more sense to the renovations and the addition at the same time. Also, they're consolidating two into one. But I'd like to hear from them.
Thank you. Ms. Reeves?
Cindy Reeves, SR Consulting, 5909 Shelby Oaks Drive, Suite 200. I actually have a presentation, but I know that you all got a paper copy of it also. if you would like me to go through that, I will be glad to. I think it could answer some questions while he's getting my presentation up now. Okay. They have owned the building, to answer your question, they've owned the building since December of 2018. It's always been the plan to expand the building, but then they realized that they could not expand the building without going through this process. Then COVID hit, and now they're back on wanting to make these improvements. The model does not work if they cannot make the expansion. It doesn't work, and I will let First Cash speak to that. But first slide is, First Cash is a leading operator of pawn stores with over 2,800 stores and 16,000 employees. They've been in Memphis for over 25 years with 16 stores. They are a destination business serving the community with limited advertising and signage. Next slide. This is the history of First Cash that was founded in 1988 to today as a $4 billion publicly traded company. Next slide. The average loan is $222. Banks, credit unions, credit card providers do not usually loan to credit-constrained customers. Pawn loans are safe and affordable, non-recourse short-term loans with no credit check or post-default collection efforts. Interest rates are governed by the state laws, and they set the interest rate, which is less percentage than most of your credit cards. Next slide. They have employee training programs that promote customer service and professionalism and specialized skill training and offer profit sharing to their employees. Next slide. They provide lease-to-own, retail, and short-term bank loans to customers to meet short-term cash needs. Unlike payday or title loans, even the UDC separates pawn stores from payday and title loan establishments because they are different. Next slide. This is an executive order from the governor that named pawn shops as an essential business during COVID. Next slide. This is the proposed renovation, and 2,000 square foot of storage expansion will improve safety, accessibility, and aesthetics of the property and neighborhood and conform to the current UDC. The reason that improvements cannot be made without the addition is that the model does not work. The next slide. This is the existing shop that will be closed, which is 1,136 feet. Next slide. Once that store is closed, and this is the only one in the Fraser area, the nearest pawn shop is 5.6 miles away. Then you have one at 6.3 and one at 6.8 miles. So it's not like the area is concentrated by a lot of pawn stores. This is, next slide. These are just some before and after slides. Next. Before and after. Next. This slide is put in, this is, a question was asked of us if there are any other pawn shops that are near schools. And this one actually in Memphis at Winchester Road and Mendenhall. And as you can see, they're in the exact same shopping center. So they are actually neighbors to that one. This is one in Nashville. Next slide. This is one in Hollywood that's only 0.17 miles away. Next slide. This is the building enhancements that they're proposing, is to redesign the exterior and interior to add a retail presence. It gives them a presence of their new model. There's not going to be any structural work to the building, so we are not doing anything that will increase the life of the building. It has been you've got all your site enhancements there. We've also gone even further, and there will be no sale of guns or ammunition permitted, which is currently in place. And we have conditioned it also that no payday loans, title loan, or flexible loans are permitted. The hours of operation will be 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday, and 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, and closed on Sunday. Next slide. Do we want the neighborhood to have a store like this forever? Next slide. Go back one. This slide here is not from them. That is their neighbor. We feel that maybe if if we start making improvements to the area, maybe some of the neighbors will also make improvements, or code enforcement may enforce them to do some improvements and clean up some of the blight. Next slide. This is neighborhood support petition and the pond detective letter of support that says that he has served as pond detective for 6 years, and Cash America has helped law enforcement with efforts when able to do so. Cash America has not posted any issues in this location in its locations that are adjacent to schools. So they have 2. The next slide. This is a letter from Terry Rowland, who's the director of Millington Chamber of Commerce, who also has a Cash America or First Cash shop, and he supports their business. And we had 2,601 signatures on a petition that I have right here, that if anybody wants to look at these are the signatures that we got between Land Use Control Board and City Council. The next slide is you can see that the store area does not increase. This addition is not to increase the sales floor. The existing storage area remains, and the 2,000 square foot storage area is the new addition. Next slide. These improvements will improve and increase property values. They will not decrease, and they will not prevent development of surrounding properties, and we feel will be an asset to the neighborhood instead of the current building. Next slide. I'm going to stay with that one. Excuse me. I'm here to answer any questions now. We just feel that this is something that is needed, and we would appreciate your vote.
Thank you, Ms. Reeves. Mr. Canali, did you have any follow-up questions? Okay. Councilwoman Easton Thomas, followed by Vice Chair Smiley, and then Johnson. Okay. Vice Chair Smiley?
I have a couple follow-up questions. You stated multiple times that the model does not work. I think you're referencing the business model.
Yes, sir.
So could you go in slightly more in detail about what you mean by the model does not work?
Yes, I'll have to turn. Name and address for the record.
My name is Jane Silver Bagford. I live at 3615 North Wolf Creek Drive, Eden, Utah, 84310.
This is your first time to Memphis?
It is not my first time in Memphis. I've had the pleasure of being in Memphis multiple times. I'm the vice president in charge of the Eastern United States, including Memphis, and have been since 2013.
Okay, so talk about what you mean by the model does not work.
So the model doesn't work for us without additional storage space because, again, one of the things that we planned on doing and have always planned on doing since we acquired the building is combining 2 stores into one. And when you do that, we have a great need in the community that we've seen that has been supporting 2 pawn shops there for 20 plus years. When you pledge something to a pawn shop, we store it for you, we insure it, we keep it safe, we keep it in working condition, climate controlled. So in order to have our business work, we have to have the storage to be able to store responsibly our customer's product. So as we close one more, we absolutely have to have more storage space in order to fulfill the needs and the obligations that we have for the company and for the community.
Follow-up question, and I hope you speak with candor. What happens if the council votes no today?
If the council votes no to the expansion, we own the property. We've been there for 20 plus years. We've acquired the property in the last few years. We plan to be there for the next 20 plus, 30 plus years. We will continue to do business in that store. However, without having the ability to expand it, the financial implications, we just quite frankly can't invest in that kind of an expansion.
So
we're looking to spend $1 million plus into that location. So without being able to expand our storage, at least to hold what we're currently doing, that expansion just doesn't make sense from a financial perspective.
So what you're saying is it doesn't make sense to make that type of investment without having some type of expanded footprint?
From the building, we need, when we make that kind of an investment over time, we'd hope to recoup that investment.
Okay. Next question. How many employees do you currently have?
Currently
at that facility?
In Memphis itself, I apologize that I don't know that one immediately off the top of my head. And I would assume that we have around 75 employees.
Okay, so if you expanded the footprint, will you be hiring more people?
We are not currently planning to hire additional people necessarily. However, we will retain the entire staff from the store that we are closing down.
So if you're not able to expand your footprint, will you be letting people go?
We would have to.
I'm going to ask this. How many? Well, how many people were working at the prior store? Do we know?
The store that we have currently.
So there was two locations. There was a location, the current location that we're looking on the screen, and the location, I think, was like right across the street.
Mm-hmm.
How many employees were at that location?
I'd say approximately 5.
5. So if the council votes no, we're sending 5 people home.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.
Thanks.
Councilwoman Jones.
Thank you. My question's for you, just a follow-up. Where are they working right now, those 5 individuals?
For me?
No, the store is closed.
What was the question?
Okay, there were 2 pawn shops, correct?
Correct.
One is closed.
One of them will be closing.
So you have not closed it yet?
We have not closed it yet.
We were under the impression it was closed. I was. So it's still active over there with Reverend Anderson and his group.
That's when the lease.
When does the lease expire?
Our lease expires the end of this year.
Oh, okay, so that's another issue. Next question. How many pawn shops do you have here in Memphis?
First Cash America has 16 locations here in Memphis.
I know you don't know where they are all located, do you?
Not off the top of my head, I don't.
Okay. What areas of town would you think they would probably be located in
Having
most?
looked at a map, we are located all over the city of Memphis. So in the Memphis and the surrounding areas.
Okay. All right, then. That would be interesting to know. Thank you, Chair.
Councilman Carlisle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, this one's difficult because I think Councilman Smiley and I were thinking exactly the same way. They had 2 locations. They took control of this one. It's in shambles. They were a landlord, or they were a tenant in a spot that was purchased by Reverend Anderson that, as is right, not to allow them to renew or come into a new lease. So they must close that site down. And so the natural thing to do is move to your next closest location and invest in the property and hope, from a business standpoint, that you're able to recover the revenues that you were doing, purely speaking business. And then if you're able to do that, then you're able to retain the employees and make the improvements in the property. My fear is that if you don't, I hear Reverend Anderson's point, being in the community and having a charter school, but my fear is that they will make minimal improvements or even sunset a property, which can go 5 or 10 years. And basically what it is, and this happens in the Wendy's business all the time, is you just ride that thing out into the ground making Band-Aid repairs all the way through and through. I also don't like the idea of a store losing what we're arguing over here, I think, or the argument is over 2,000 square feet of storage space. I guess that's where, if you're completely 100% against pawn shops, like payday lenders, and I'm not saying they're the same, but if that's where you're going to classify them as, then I got it. Your mind is made up. But they're already operating. They're closing down a store, or a store's being closed down on them, and they want to add storage space. So I guess, Mr. Raxiel, or would you approve an ancillary structure for them to provide storage?
Well, this is a PD, so...
ultimately, you understand Yes, they have the, okay, yes, do they have the ability to invest in the store? And you're like, yeah, they're a publicly traded company. They can get money from everywhere, but that's not how businesses operate, right? Like, you don't just take money. You look at each individual store as an investment and a return. Like, that's business. Sorry. So my question to you is they're closing an operation. They want to invest in this location. I don't know how much what their litmus test is for ROI. That's not really my job. I'm just trying to get my head wrapped around the hurdle that is a storage expansion to get the entire site cleaned up. Like, at the end of the day, that's what I'm trying to figure out, right? Like, I can't imagine their model working if we said, hey, look, we'll give you a storage facility. They can go get a storage facility a half a mile away. I don't even know if that's legal under state law. A lot of times states require that property stays on site for 30 to 90 days or 10 days. It depends on the state by, just so that the police can clear that it's not been stolen. So I'm trying to figure out, I guess, they're operating, trying to make the best of the situation. I'm trying to get my head wrapped around how we do that.
Right. Well, and I guess, and I know I didn't make a convincing argument to Vice Chair Smiley, but I will try my best to do that. But I do think that, any, ability to increase that nonconformity. Now, a temporary storage solution definitely makes more sense than a permanent expansion, because that's something that, doesn't allow that. And again, where I think about it is, something that might be a 20-year, property here. Well, once we allow a substantial expansion, I know it's only 2,000 square feet, but that might allow them to operate another 50 years. And once that is done, then, that non-conforming use that we have in that area is, it's there. So that's where we kind of, that's where the section of non-conformities really comes in, and how we try to apply that. So I hope that answers your question.
Walk me through I'm sorry, and I understand illegal non-conforming, but walk me through our UDC and state laws position on that.
And state laws?
Yeah, well, really, I mean, they flow, one flows invest to the other, right? Like,
listen, I may direct this to Director Zena, yeah.
What I'm trying to understand is, and it's only because I don't understand in Tennessee, and specifically in the UDC, how the approval date, how long that, to your point, if we approve an illegal non-conforming use or this PD, how it vests those rights for a period of time and how that time is determined.
If this PD is approved, John Zena, Director of Planning and Development. If this PD is approved, it's essentially an overlay zoning district on this site.
That takes away illegal non-conforming, and now they're operating under the PD?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. I'll yield the floor, Mr. Chair.
Councilman Canale.
Thank you, Chairman. I would propose that we hold this and see if a compromise can be worked out between the...
How do I second this?
surrounding neighbors. Okay, so you're saying we shouldn't even try?
One individual told us that last time. One person. It's not the community. So if first of all, I'm out of pocket.
Well, are you done, Mr. Canale? Okay. Vice Chair Smiley.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that, Mr. Chair. So, I second Councilman Canale's motion to hold, but if we do hold this thing, what I would like to see, I know we heard from a particular individual championing what he believes is the community's request, but I'm looking at a packet that says they have over 763 signatures. One of them says 2,601 signatures saying they want some type of improvement there. But what I would like to see if we hold today, because I know this vote is 7-6, and I don't know if it's in favor or against. I would like to see people show up. I think government works best when you have active participation from the community. It's empty out there. So the truth of the matter is we don't know what the community wants. We know what one person who holds himself out to be the voice of the community wants, but we don't know what the community wants. If we want active participation, let's see what happens. But right now, we're operating on what we believe to be true. I know, and you're one individual, and we have to know what the people believe. I don't know what the people believe, to be honest with you, because what I see is a building it doesn't look too good, and I wouldn't want it in my neighborhood. And I see a company here wanted to make some type of improvements and also expand, but also hear from a planning development that it's a non-conforming use. So I want to know what the community wants. We don't know. We really do not know. So I agree with the whole, and I'm not opposed to the whole, but I want to know what the body thinks.
Okay.
Or what the applicant wants, or.
So
that's all for me.
I have Carlisle and Morgan in the queue, but I have a quick question too. If this is going to be a whole, some information that I would like back, if you could provide the square footage of your other locations, that would be very helpful. And then if we could also have the number of non-conforming locations, is it all 16 or however many that there are in Memphis, but that information would be helpful to us for the entire council as we're deliberating this. Councilman Carlisle, followed by Councilman Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And then I'd add to that, just because, again, we're talking about the business model. I understand I understand. I don't know what your labor model is. That cost necessary in order to retain those employees, because I think that was a significant question. But also the cost. So the argument being made here, I think, on both sides is well, I'll add a sub-argument, which is no pawn shops, period, right? That's clearly one argument. That's Reverend Anderson's point is if he could get rid of them all, he would, and he's entitled to that opinion. I got it. I'm dealing with the fact that you're open, you're operating, you own your site. I would like to get an order of magnitude. I don't know how many remodels you've done, but I could probably give you, I know how much LED lights, et cetera. I'd like to have an order of magnitude of the cost of the remodel. And it's mainly to understand the amount of employees that you'll be able to retain, what they're paid, what the salary is, and then the cost of improvements, which would have an increase in the assessed value of the property, which would give you the increase in taxes. And to the point, if it helps clean up the neighborhood, the LED lights alone would make the neighborhood, that area safer at nighttime. So, and Councilman Ford pointed something out. You've just got this open vista to the right here that's got a free-flowing dumpster sitting in the parking lot to the back of an alleyway that's kind of dangerous. And I think your expansion covers that up and enables, kind of secure the site a little better. But really what I'd like is to get the order of magnitude on cost of construction and then the retention, meaning the sales volume you need to do in order to retain those employees and why the 2,000 square feet helps achieve that goal. Because I think that for me is where I'm getting stuck is I hear what Councilwoman Easter Thomas is saying. I hear what Reverend Anderson's saying. I understand some people's philosophy on pawn stores. But at the end of the day, you're there and you're operating. And whether people like it or not, we want to put the physical asset in that neighborhood in the best position to look as beautiful, to be renovated and remodeled and look nice, clean, secure, especially with LED lighting, safe. And also, if people are employed in that area, which they likely live in the area, I'd certainly have to do, I'd hate to do something that would cost people their jobs over 2,000 square feet of storage space. So I think that for me are the things I'd like to know.
Yeah, not only that, y'all need to come back because they just need some storage space.
Yes, sir. I yield.
Finish up with what you're looking at here, but if they need storage space, y'all need to try to get with them too, okay? That's why 2 weeks would be pretty good to try to hold everything, but y'all need to try to work it out with them and really not the neighborhood because they can put some storage space, but you need to get with them and see what kind of storage space and see what it look like, then come back to us because it might look worse than the other.
Yeah, if there's an alternative solution to the storage situation, great, but that's going to require you guys to. And my guess is it's not. I'm concerned about what that might look like, but I don't know what temporary means, except for usually is a 24-month to 5-year, and they're looking for a 20-year investment, which would be typical to match commercial debt. So, again, I think everybody's trying to figure out how to deal with the situation that exists as the best way I can say it. Not very articulate, but trying to respect the wishes of what neighbors may want, recognizing that it's open, and trying to induce the owners to reinvest into the property. Because again, they're running a business, not a charity. I hate to say it, it's just the truth. But thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilman Morgan, did you still want to be recognized?
No, I was just going to move previous question. I think we're talking around this issue quite a bit.
Councilman Covett, and then I don't see anyone else in the queue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would support the hold to the council of the district. I'm free to assist if you would like me to. Jump in and see if we can find some common ground. If you don't have a problem, then I'm more than happy to have and work sit downs. Otherwise, I support the hold.
So there is who's making the motion to hold? Canale makes, okay, seconded. So there's a motion to hold this item made by Canale, seconded by Smiley. Is there any objection for 2 weeks? 2 weeks? So if there's no objection, this item will be held for 2 weeks. Madam Comptroller, will you please call our consent agenda?
Item number 8 is up for a second reading. Ordinance number 5878 is sponsored by Chairman Jones. Item number 9 is also up for second reading. Ordinance number 5879 is sponsored by Chairman Jones. On our add-ons, item number 36, we have an ordinance to amend Chapter 2, Article 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Memphis relative to the reasonable and necessary facilities and other capital assets for the Memphis City Council to conduct its meeting obligations and other legislative responsibilities vested in the council by the city's charter. Up for first reading, ordinance number 5881 is sponsored by council members Smiley, Carlisle, Jones, Swearingen, Washington, Johnson, Warren, Canale, and Logan. And there is a request to add this to the consent agenda for the first reading. Mr. Chairman, that concludes our consent agenda items.
Okay, our consent agenda items, that item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilwoman Robinson.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I need to talk about the zoning ordinances. One moment, please.
Okay.
We have zoning ordinances, one zoning ordinance up for second reading. The case number is Z23-07. The ordinance number is 5880. And we do have engineering items on our consent agenda. Item number 11 is a resolution approving final plat for Grays Creek Apartments, Amherst Plan Development Area 5, Phase 1, and accepting bond as security. There's a request for same night minutes for that, and that's contract number CR 5442. And item number 12 is a resolution accepting termination of public improvements for 9 East Plan Development Subdivision, contract number 5365, and releasing the bond. And there's a request for same night minutes on that item. That concludes all the consent agenda items at this time.
Thank you kindly.
You're so welcome.
That item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilwoman Robinson. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, colleagues, the voting screen is prepared.
Canale, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Morgan, yes. Robinson, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen, Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
Thank you. That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call our fiscal consent agenda?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That would take us to item number 13, a resolution to accept, allocate, and appropriate grant funds in the amount of $300,000 from the Federal Communications Commission for the city's efforts to increase awareness of the Affordable Connectivity Program, project number LI 90047, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by Library Services, and there is a request for same-night minutes. Item number 14 is a resolution accepting grant funds in the amount of $130,000 from Tennessee Department of Health for Project Diabetes Year 2 for the implementation of health promotion efforts throughout the Memphis area, project number PK90124. This resolution is sponsored by Memphis Parks. There is a request for same-night minutes. Item number 15 is a resolution accepting grant funds in the amount of $50,000 from International Paper Foundation for Lit Meets Rec literacy programming at community centers, project number PK90123, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by Memphis Parks. There's a request for same-night minutes. Item number 16 is a resolution to accept grant funds in the amount of $90,000 from Petco Love, project number R91029, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by Animal Services. Item number 17 is a resolution to accept grant funds in the amount of $3 million from the State of Tennessee Office of Criminal Justice Program, OCJP, project number PD90269, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by Police Services, and there is a request for same-night minutes. Mr. Chairman, that concludes our fiscal consent agenda items.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller. Our fiscal consent agenda has been motioned by Councilwoman Robinson, seconded by Councilman Warren. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, will you please prepare the voting screens?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Morgan, yes. Robinson, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call our MLGNW fiscal consent agenda?
That would take us to item number 18, a resolution approving change number 3 to contract number 12304, formally purchase order 7015763, VM Backup and Replication Enterprise Plus annual production with Logicalis, Inc. This change is to renew the annual maintenance for Veeam software support and maintenance services and to co-term Veeam license agreement 2891579 for the period covering November 15th, 2023 through November 14th, 2024 in the funded amount of $106,410. Item number 19 is a resolution approving change number 2 to contract number 12209, courier services with Deep South Delivery, LLC, doing business as Diligent Delivery Services, formerly Express Courier, Inc. This change is to renew the current contract for the second of 4 annual renewal terms covering the period of September 6, 2023 through September 5th, 2024 in the funded amount of $152,292.15. Item number 20 is a resolution allowing MLGW to enter into a joint funding agreement with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. MLGW's intent is to participate in the funding of a feasibility cost sharing agreement. The maximum amount MLGW is committing to shall not exceed $700,000. Item number 21 is a resolution approving change number 5 to contract number 121150, Mallory Wash Water Recovery with Chris Hill Construction Company, LLC, to ratify, expand the scope, and increase the current contract value in the amount of $135,565. Item number 22 is a resolution approving change number 1 to contract number 12142, card payment processing services to Card Connect LLC, option A, in the funded amount of $3,374,232. Item number 23 is a resolution approving change number 8 to contract number 10614, Bloomberg Data License and Maintenance Agreement with Bloomberg LP in the funded amount not to exceed the amount of $77,880. Item number 24 is a resolution approving the ratification of purchase order numbers 7040461 and 7038560 to Universal Scaffold and Equipment Company for Cable 1C in the total amount of $3,351,670. Item number 25 is a resolution approving the ratification of purchase order number 7039407 to Brighter Days and Nights, Inc. for 4 types of control cable in the total amount of $507,971. Item number 26 is a resolution to approve the salary of the Vice President General Counsel at an annual salary of $214,988.80. There's a request for same-night minutes for this item. And item number 27 is a resolution approving change number 2 to contract number 12212, Job Evaluation Manager subscription with Korn Ferry to extend the current contract in the funded amount of $331,200. Mr. Chairman, that concludes our MLGW fiscal consent items.
Thank you. Our MLG&W fiscal consent agenda has been moved by Councilwoman Robinson, seconded by Councilwoman Johnson. I had a couple of questions. Ms. McGowan, I had a question about if you could just elaborate on the Army Corps of Engineers, just the scope of that. And I think that's it. I just had a question about that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Doug McGowan, 781 North Graham Street. So the Army Corps of Engineers has a program that they can help us with basically armoring a bank. We have a transmission tower for our electrical system that is located very near the Loosathatchee River. And through erosion, it is eroding the bank to the point where it endangers that transmission tower from falling in. It's a maximum of about a $2.5 million exposure for the project. This $700,000 is the maximum amount we'd be liable for under the 1/3, 2/3 cost share, where we would be taking that amount of money from MLGW, and the Army Corps of Engineers would actually take the other part. This is the first step to getting the design work done, and it's the same exact cost share for the actual construction work. So they're eager to help us with this. This represents a maximum exposure for the study, and we think it's a good value for the customers of Memphis Light Gas Water. Have the Army Corps help pick up about 2/3 of the cost of this study and the ultimate construction to prevent this transmission tower from being at risk of falling.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Seeing no other members in the queue to speak on this item, council colleagues, your voting screens are prepared.
Canale, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Councilmember Covett, please show him as voting yes. Robinson, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 35?
Item number 35 is a resolution to allocate and appropriate funds in the amount of $1,100,000 for the Red Zone Opportunity Zone. Project number to be announced, District 4, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by Memphis Parks. There is a request for same-night minutes.
Councilman Warren?
Yes, Mr. Chair. The committee met, recommended approval, and I so move.
Okay. That item has been moved by Warren, seconded by Johnson. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the voting screens?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Robinson, yes. Swearingen, Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 37?
Item number 37 is a resolution to transfer and appropriate construction funds in the amount of $8,782,715 to CIPP, 18-inch, 36-inch, and 60-inch pipe in 2 areas. Project number is W24201 for rehabilitation of deteriorated sewer lines using cured-in-place District 6 and 7, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Public Works. There is a request for same night minutes.
Thank you. Vice Chair Smiley.
Committee may recommend approval, and I so move.
That item has been moved by Vice Chair Smiley, seconded by Councilman Carlisle. Seeing no members in the queue, speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the voting screens?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Robinson, yes. Swearingen, Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 28?
Item number 28 on our regular agenda is a reappointment of Michael Pullman to Memphis Light, Gas, and Water Commission.
Councilwoman Easter Thomas?
Chair, the committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Okay. That item has been moved by Councilwoman Easter Thomas, seconded by Councilman Carlisle. I see Councilman Warren in the queue. Councilman Warren, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We did meet, but I don't think we recommended approval. It was just held and sort of passed on. Did we recommend approval? Oh, okay. All right. Thank you very much. My memory's bad.
I'm with him.
What was that, Ms. Johnson? Okay.
Mr. Chair, may I?
Councilman Canali, followed by Councilman Carlisle.
Okay. That's right. Mr. Chair, if I may, just to remind the council.
Okay. Mr. Carlisle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Colleagues, if you'll, lots of fervent debate. What we ended up doing was Councilwoman Johnson wanted to allow the public opportunity, so we took a vote. She abstained. It was sitting down with a positive recommendation to allow the public 2 weeks so that it was on the agenda should anyone want to come and speak. Not seeing anybody. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity.
Okay. You good? You good? Okay, so seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the voting screens?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, no. Robinson, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley abstained. Swearingen, Washington abstained. Warren abstained. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 31?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item number 31 is a resolution approving the donation of a city-owned parcel located at 484 East Simpson Avenue, Memphis, Shelby County, Tennessee, 38106, and further described as parcel ID 025-040-00027, District 4, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by General Services.
Vice Chair Smiley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The committee may recommend approval. That's so moved.
Okay, that item has been moved by Vice Chair Smiley, seconded by Councilwoman Robinson. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on the item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the voting screen?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Robinson, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 32?
Item 32 is a resolution requesting the approval to transfer a 10.34 acre parcel to the Memphis Shelby County Board of Education, District 2, Super District 9. This resolution is sponsored by General Services.
Vice Chair Smiley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The committee may recommend approval, and I so move.
That item has been moved by Vice Chair Smiley, seconded by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the voting screens?
Canelli, yes. Carlisle, yes. Colvett, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Robinson, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 33?
Item 33 is a resolution to transfer and appropriate residual funding in the amount of $407,438.96 from multiple MPD inactive projects to PD 04029 Radio Maintenance Building Rehab Project, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by Police Services.
Councilman Covett. Oh, he's not here. Councilman Warren, if you would, please.
Mr. Chair, the committee met, recommend approval, and I so move.
Okay. Item number 33 has been moved by Councilman Warren, seconded by Councilman Carlisle. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on the item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the voting screens?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Robinson, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item 34?
Item number 34 is a resolution to transfer a portion of City of Memphis Police Services CIP project number PD 02018, Violent Crimes Unit renovation from construction line to architecture and engineering, A&E. All council districts, this resolution is sponsored by Police Services.
Councilman Covett.
Mr. Chair, the committee met, recommend approval, and I so move.
Okay, that item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilwoman Swearingen Washington. Seeing no members in the queue to, I'm sorry, we do have, okay. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the screens for the vote?
Do you have it?
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Robinson, yes. Smiley, Vice Chairman, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. And Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. That brings us to our same night minutes. Vice Chair Smiley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Same night minute items are 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 26, 35, 37, and 38. This council loves their same 9 minutes, and I so move.
That item has been moved by Vice Chair Smiley, seconded by Councilman Carlisle. Seeing no members in the queue to speak on this item, Madam Comptroller, will you please prepare the voting screens?
On the minutes. Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Ford, yes. Johnson, yes. Robinson, yes. Vice Chairman Smiley, yes. Swearingen Washington, yes. Warren, yes. And Chairman Jones, yes.
That item passes. Colleagues, before we hear our public comments, I just wanted to take a moment to read a thank you card that I received after our HBU scholarship ceremony the other day. It says, "Thank you for allowing me and my parents to come celebrate the HBCU scholarship. I am so grateful to be from a city that cares. With gratitude, Miss Nina Collymore." So she's attending Norfolk State University. So I just wanted to share that with everybody.
Thank you, as a law star.
So we have one comment card. Mr. Joe Kent.
Joe Kent, 5111 Flamingo. From the top of the ecosystem, the Regional 1 shutdown of Guthrie Clinic, after their budget was passed, it got everything that they wanted. Without notice, shutting down the Guthrie Clinic is an act of bullying. It can also be said that MRPP District 7's new employer consistently exhibits the civic bullying behavior of a redneck. Now, if redneck behavior is being modeled from the top of the ecosystem, you're going to have a high crime rate.
Yeah.
Can you not say redneck in a redneck city?
There's context to words and the way in which you are applying it.
This is pen, paper, and pencil. This is a card.
Okay.
Can't say redneck? Okay.
No.
As far as small business goes, Memphis needs 6,000 more establishments, which are not startups, but mom and pops. As far as our startup, our public leader startup, your punk epicenter board, that no one talks about, bullies the taxpayer by not holding public meetings, not publishing their minutes or financials. Board members include David Waddell, Shay Flynn, Spence Wilson, Phil Spinoza. Your mayor hates small business. It's so bad that they would rather do business with a Canadian company that can't deliver on workforce development as opposed to work with small business. And Mayor Harris prefers Israeli companies over local tech companies, Arizona companies over local tech companies, and the U of M for an 18-field database for a $1 million order over small local business. Nobody else got to see it except All World and the U of M. That's how much you despise small business culture here in Memphis. Thank you.
Is there any other, sorry, Ms. Carlisle.
Colleagues, I just saw an announcement that the governor has officially called into session on the 21st, a special session of the General Assembly, including 18 topics. I won't go over them now, but please take time to read them and prepare to come to our next meeting with things we'd like our lobbyists to present, and lawmakers, please reach out. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other business to come before this council? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move it.
We are adjourned.
All right.